Illinois State University has released summaries of internal and external audits of athletic department spending. These come in the wake of questionable expenditures that led to the resignation of Athletics Director Kyle Brennan last year. WGLT's Charlie Schlenker has more.
In a presentation to the Academic Senate of the university, Internal Auditing Director Rob Blemler said the internal audit concluded a nearly $19,000 reimbursement for tickets to the Big Ten football championship in December of 2021 was a one-off. That came as part of a donor wooing trip that included a stop at a strip club.
And then I would note that the university has different travel rules and regulations depending on the funding source, that is university funds or foundation funds.
The external audit was by a firm versed in forensic accounting. It reviewed expenses from both university and foundation funds from July of 2020 through April of 2023. The consultants analyzed transactions to compare the expenditures of key employees against all other athletic employees. That's supposed to show whether there were unusual spending patterns. They used data analytics to detect anomalies within a data set. They also searched transaction descriptions for specific keywords, including, but not limited to, entertain, tickets, donors, and stewardship. Blemler says another search looked for duplicates of transaction amounts incurred by the same employee.
They did not find any atypical expenditures incurred by key employees or other employees during the scope period outside of those identified by internal audit. The consultant's full report did identify transactions that met the analysis criteria, but these transactions were reported and deemed to be consistent with operations and not considered atypical.
Following the resignation of Kyle Brennan, reports surfaced about a previous audit that had found potential weaknesses in the department's internal controls. Blemler told senators university advancement has taken other steps to strengthen controls over entertainment and meals. Those went into place in January of this year.
There are now per-person thresholds for entertainment and meals. Expenses exceeding these limits require pre-approval by the appropriate vice president, athletic director, or president.
Specifically, entertainment expenses such as tickets exceeding $100 per person and meals over $80 per person must be pre-approved at least 72 hours prior to buying them or the event date, with a detailed business justification. If an employee has unplanned spending over those limits, they have to submit them within 72 hours of the event with a detailed explanation and justification. Senators didn't have many questions. One, from Professor Jim Pancrazio, noted there are widespread background checks of people who come to campus in a variety of roles.
Are we actually looking into the quality of the people who are going to be providing funds to this university? Because consistently we're talking about our faculty that are going to embarrass the campus by making comments on Twitter or X or whatever you call it. And are we not paying attention to what we're actually pursuing?
Senate Chair Martha Horst said the Senate last year asked the university to review how it vets potential donors. Blemler said that was outside of the scope of the audits. As a side note, Aaron Rossi was indicted on felony tax fraud charges after the donor trip and after he made a now unfulfilled pledge to support construction of an indoor practice facility. Martha Horst said the ISU Board of Trustees and the Executive Council of the Senate have reviewed the full audit report, not just the summary. ISU President Andove Tarhuli was not present at the Senate meeting and, according to an ISU spokesperson, was not available. ISU put off fee increases slated to support athletics amid the questions about its institutional culture. Then, Interim President Tarhuli named faculty member and NCAA board member Jerry Beggs as interim athletic director following the Brennan resignation as one move to bring calm to the institution.
We're happy that it's finally done and that it's out now in the public and been vetted through the Board of Trustees and through Academic Senate. We were happy that there were no other anomalies, and so I'm pleased.
Beggs expressed hope the results will restore faith in the athletics department and university processes.
There were a lot of good people there, and they didn't deserve the reputation that last spring created, and so I'm happy that we're moving on.
Beggs says the new spending guidelines and pre-approval requirements have not caused much of a shift in athletic department operations.
No, we weren't spending excessively before, other than this one particular case that brought us to this situation. So it has not changed.
She says current morale in the department is good and that people feel supported. She says the impact on donations and fundraising has been minimal.
I don't think those really ever fell off. Our donors were sad to hear the story, but many of them were much more interested in whether our football team was going to be good in the fall or how our men's and women's basketball going to do. They didn't seem to be as bothered by it as I might have guessed.
Following the upheaval, ISU finished its practice facility without the money pledged by Aaron Rossi following the Indianapolis trip. After he left ISU, Kyle Brennan returned to Utah for a job at a name, image, and likeness collective raising money for student athletes. After a few months, he moved on to become vice president for sport commissions of the Professional Pickleball Association based in Salt Lake City. I'm Charlie Schlenker.